Let's talk to John O'Connell, CEO of the Taxpayers Alliance. Good afternoon to you, John. We had Isabel Oakeshott with us a moment ago. If we were assessing this on a kind of Britain's Got Talent basis, we might give Rachel Reeves some house points for delivery. She was certainly fiery. In terms of content, I think she'd be getting 4 red buzzers.
Yeah, and a fifth, if you could fit a fifth one in. It's an absolute disaster for taxpayers, for families, for businesses, for anybody who gets up off the sofa and goes to work for a living. It's an absolute disaster. We're seeing a hike in the tax burden to its biggest level on record. So it's just bad news all round. And it does seem to me as if there is just a very deliberate pitch from the Labour Party at the moment to be the party of welfare, as opposed to, the clues in the name, the Labour Party. It's not really about work anymore, because if you are doing the right thing and you're saving for a pension so that you're not such a burden on the state in later life, you do anything to sort of look after yourself and your family away from the prying eyes and the greedy hands of the state, then they want to come after you.
And that was kind of evidence, really. There was a moment, I don't know if you spotted this, John, when she talked about inheritance tax and agriculture, and the big cheers on the Labour benches for this. And I thought, what an extraordinary thing to cheer for. You'd only really be cheering for that if you knew absolutely jack about business and how things work and what makes a country grow, etc. But of course, that really does feed into the frenzy of left-wing thinking, that their belief is that if you tax stuff, particularly farmers, because they're all rich and their cupboards are stuffed with bags of cash, etc. They have this sort of stereotype, that in any other walk of life would probably get you 2 years in jail, but they're quite happy to do it with people who they think's got a few quid or have worked a little bit harder.
Yeah, and in many cases, farmers don't actually have a few quid.
Well, that's very true.
The way that farms are financed, it means that they're often on salaries that are well below the median. Probably even below minimum wage. In a lot of cases, that they do it because they love it. They do it for a sense of duty and commitment and patriotism, and it's been going through generations and generations of their family. And this is, as you say, the cheers from Labour backbenches are frankly disgusting when it comes to stuff like this, because we're talking about a very particular British way of life that's come under sustained assault since July 2024, and it's all there in black and white. We can all see it now. We can all see the charts showing how much we're all going to be paying for welfare to go up, and that's the bottom line here. We've got people who are working hard, and then if you look at some of the specific proposals, taxing salary sacrifice pensions, and the reason that people put so much into salary sacrifice pensions is because of the tax and benefit system to start with. There's a cliff edge when somebody when their income goes above £100,000, where their personal allowance is withdrawn, which means that their marginal rate goes up above 60%. There's also the nursery and childcare fees, which you can get if you're on below 100,000. So of course, families, on around those kinds of levels use salary sacrifice schemes. So the only reason they do it is not to squirrel money away from, hard up benefit claimants. It's because the tax and benefit system is already punishing them. So they're being punished again on the back of already being punished.
Yeah, and of course the reality is that people who are worth a few quid already pay an extraordinary amount of tax in terms of total amount as well as the individual amount. Typically they will take less out of the system as well, but of course none of that really counts for anything. You mentioned the word wealth. I mean, she threw in the sort of Mayfair mansion as almost like a typical example of what she's doing with council tax. It seems rather blind to me, but I guess that the way we could write it off, John, is that, it is the Labour Party. They are unapologetically the Labour Party. Some will proudly call themselves socialists, and in that respect, I suppose it was a socialist budget.
Yeah, maybe that's absolutely true, but it flies in the face of what they were saying in the run-up to the election in July 2024, when they were openly saying, we will not increase council tax. Farmers, you do not need to worry. Going on big charm offensive with businesses. Growth was their number one main objective. Yeah, all of that was either deliberate sort of mistruths, or maybe they do think that they're going to achieve growth somehow, but they've just gone about it in completely the wrong way. In fact, if you're going to design a way to upend growth and cripple business, this is the way to do it. The last two budgets have been an absolute disaster for families and households and businesses all across the country.
And of course, manifesto breaches as well, because I mean, it happened last time when they increased employee national insurance, because that was a tax on working people, those that run small businesses. But this time, I think this threshold business, I mean, we can't really let them get away with this. This is a tax rise. You've got 780,000 more people into the basic rate, 920,000 more into the higher rate. I mean, this is a tax rise. That's a break of their manifesto pledge.
Yeah, and a tax rise on working people that, they've tried to come up with, because they use this phrase in the run up to the election, we will not increase taxes on working people. They then tried to have to work out what that actually meant. And they've tried all sorts of different ruses for it. But of course, everybody knows that they're increasing taxes on working people, income taxes through the frozen thresholds. Even the one that I just mentioned on salary sacrifice, that is an increase of national insurance on working people. It just is. So they've broken the manifesto pledges several times over. But sleight of hand from politicians. Yes. Kel surprise.
Yeah, indeed. John, on that point, thank you very much. Great to have you on. John O'Connell, he is the CEO of the Taxpayers Alliance.